So welcome back to Orchid House. I'm Olivier in Fort Lauderdale, and today I wanted to broach a subject that's annoying. So what do you do when you go on vacation? Now obviously you should be looking for the time off, and I always do, but then I worry about my babies here. So I grow my plants year-round outdoors in a semi-tropical climate. So whatever I'm saying here applies to you if you live in the same environment. But maybe you'll have ideas. I mean, if you grow your plant indoors year-round, well, it's obviously a completely different situation. What's very important also is the size of your collection. If you have 10 plants, it's not a big deal. 50, you need to do something. If you have hundreds of plants like me and many other people I know here in South Florida, in our orchid societies, it's very common. So when you go on vacation, you have to think about what's going to happen. And obviously, so if you don't have that many plants, you shouldn't worry as much. The problem I have is that I have a very diverse collection. So I have plants that need a lot of water, like the Stanopias, the Gongoras, the Paphiopedilums, which I recently started growing. And there's others, like all the Trichocentrums, the Cattleyas in general. I mean, they can't be too wet. So, and my collection here is mostly in this area, and so they're all mixed together. And so I have to figure out the best way, the middle way that's going to please everybody. So what I have to keep in mind is that drier is better than wetter, because plants that are too wet, they ended up rotting. So my Trichocentrums, every time I go on vacation, there's not that many of them, there's 12 of them, they go inside the house. They don't get water at all, regardless of the duration of my vacation, because they don't need it. They're going to survive. It's fine. My Phalaenopsis, which I grow actually on the dry side, if they are potted, they go inside as well. That's the same thing. I water them real good before I leave, so the medium is very moist, and by the time I come back, it may be dry, but it doesn't matter. So I have to pay attention to the ones that will need a lot of water. Now, the time of, you have the sun in my face now, the time of the year is important. If I go away on vacation in the winter, obviously they're going to need a lot less water, but I have to take into consideration if it's very dry, because in the summer it's extremely humid, but in the winter not necessarily. So that comes into play. So what I do typically is a week before I go on vacation, I move plants around. Some are put in a different position so that they would be like some plants are never watered by the sprinklers, and so they are moved into the sprinklers area if they need it. But I test for a week. I see how the plants react after a sprinkler session. If they dry out super fast because the weather is extremely dry, then I have to increase the watering. So it's not an exact science, it's really trials and error. But in doubt, always opt for a little bit less water, because they're going to survive a dry spell, whereas if they are too wet, and I lost 3 precious plants like that in the past, because it was June, it was extremely dry and extremely hot, and I watered them every day, which you should never do. I will never have sprinklers every day when I go on vacation. 3 of my plants rotted by the time I came back. So it's complicated. And plants get moved around, but these plants are precious to me, so maybe you don't have to be as anal as I am as far as this is concerned. But I mean, it's important to think about what happens to your plants when you go on vacation. Maybe you have a friend who comes and takes care of them, and that's fine. That's a good thing. Make sure you give them proper instructions, and it's even better if they know orchids. Now here, so I have a sprinkler system all over. I mean, if you can see there, so there's a bunch here. These are all Stanopias. They're gonna need more water. There's sprinkler systems over there. This is for the Vandas. These girls too need a lot of water, but I mean, if they don't get water for 2 days when I'm on vacation, that's fine. They're not gonna suffer from it. I mean, they prefer water every day, but it's not the end of the world if they don't get it. So there's more sprinklers here. So all that stuff, I mean, comes into play. And like I said, I'm moving plants around, and those that I know will do perfectly fine if they are not watered at all, for like even 2 weeks. Well, they go inside. The Cattleyas, those that are mounted need to be watered regularly, but the ones that are potted, I'll give them a good soaking before leaving, then they can go inside the house and it doesn't matter, they're not going to suffer from it. So it's really, you have to think about, again, my collection is so diverse. If you only have Cattleyas, well, that's easy. If you only have Vandas, that's very easy as well. And if you have different growing areas, this area gets hit by all the sprinklers, but I have 3 different zones, so I can modulate that. And I also I check the weather when I'm gone, and I can actually start the sprinklers from afar with my iPhone. And if I see, for instance, that the weather is extremely dry or much harder than anticipated, well, I can decide to add an extra watering just by instructing the sprinklers to do that. So think about it when you go on vacation. I mean, if your collection is precious, and that's something you should think about. Thank you very much. I will see you next time. Bye bye.